I'm Nausicaä. I'm from the Valley of the Wind.
Princess!
Soon this place too will be consumed by the toxic jungle.
But I don't understand. Who could have polluted the entire Earth?
The anger of the Ohmu reflects the anger of the earth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We're a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and with me is...
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
Oh, a little sexy there for me, Khalid.
Yeah, I just wanted to sexy it up for the one time.
Yeah. I liked it, but I liked it a little too much, so don't do it again.
It's making you feel confused, I understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like these feelings.
That was my bad. I'm shink. I've just holstered or sheathed, I guess. My sexiness for the episode.
Nice. How are you doing?
Good. Honestly, I'm just dog shit tired. It's that thing of being in your mid-30s and like every once in a while you just like blink and you've just been like working really hard for a long time.
I understand.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to give myself some grace. I'm gonna take it easy this weekend, but getting through it. How about you? How are you?
Guess what?
What?
I'm a gamer now, Khalid.
Ooh, okay. Do tell.
Well, kind of. I'm selling myself a little too high on that one. So our daughter, our 6-year-old, now almost 7-year-old, saved up money to buy half of a Nintendo Switch, and I said I would buy the other part. So we bought a Nintendo Switch for our house together, and so now we're a Switch family. Yes.
Aw, what games are y'all playing?
Honestly, we only have one so far because all the money we save for the Switch, we're like, oh my god, and you got to pay for games too.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, they're expensive. We bought this little one called A Short Hike. It was a little cheaper. It's like an indie game, but it's like playing like a lo-fi playlist. It feels like you're like a little penguin who's just in like a national park, and you hike around and do little things like collect coins or do a boat thing. Our daughter really likes it. Oh, actually, both our kids really like it. They just want to like walk around and explore the mountainside and stuff. It's really nice. It's a pleasant little game.
Wow, I love that. Did I ever tell you about during the pandemic when I was playing Death Stranding?
No.
Oh yeah, it's basically that, except like way more intense. Definitely don't get it for children.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is that like you're basically just like a package delivery man, and you're just like delivering across the post-apocalypse. So it's like there's just long stretches where I'm just like walking across like the Pacific Northwest, like just taking in the sights, and I was just like, man, I should do this.
Yeah. That's the life.
Yeah, man, it's just so simple.
Yeah. If the apocalypse happens, that's what
it's just me and my packages.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, we just have the one, but so anyone listening, if you got any good Switch recommendations, like game recommendations, particularly if you got like monster stuff from me, like send them our way. I'd be interested to know what kind of stuff they have to offer. So yeah.
Can't wait to hear what you get back.
I hope I get stuff back.
I suspect we got one or two gamers in the community.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, question for you, Khalid.
Another one.
Yeah.
Okay, what's up?
So anyone who's clicked on this episode knows we're talking about Nausicaä. One of the characters, one of my favorite characters in it is Lord Yupa, right? Greatest swordsman on Earth. Anyway, I have a scenario for you. Lord Yupa decides to go ham it up at the Met Gala. What did fashionistas or fashion critics say about his outfit?
What the hell?
What did they say?
That is the most belabored setup I've ever heard.
It's a good one.
It's insane. Okay, so what did fashionistas say about Lord Yupa's clothes?
Yep.
I'm honestly, I'm still so mad at the setup. What is it?
It was very avant-garde. 'Cause swords.
Man.
Get it? 'Cause swords.
All right. Yeah, whatever, man. You know what? You clearly worked hard on that one.
I did. Some people say the pun is mightier than the sword.
Your little 1-2 punches, man. I gotta start bracing myself harder for those. I told you I was tired. My defenses are down.
And that's a segue, Khalid. Tell us what we're talking about.
Thanks for asking, Joe. Today we're talking about Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind, the 1984 fantasy animated film directed and written by Hayao Miyazaki. And I've got a synopsis from your homeboy Khalid, me, and it goes a little something like this. It's Princess Nausicaä to the rescue in the epic fantasy adventure that takes us to heights even gliders couldn't reach. When some punk-ass Tolmekians kill Nausicaa's dad, Homegirl has no choice but to step up and handle business. We've got spores, wars, and so much more in this underrated Miyazaki deep cut.
What a monster!
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Boom. That was a good one, Khalid.
Bow. Thanks.
Rhyming spores with wars was clever.
You know, I in a way that's more genuine than your self-satisfaction with puns. I'm very proud of myself for this.
You should be. You should be.
Yeah. This is effort put to good use.
It was, yeah. I'll give you that.
Thank you, though. Thank you.
So, all right. A little background for the movie before we dig into our discussion. So, Hayao Miyazaki made his actual feature directorial debut in 1979 with The Castle of Cagliostro, which was a Lupin III adaptation. That movie was not a commercial success, but Toshio Suzuki, who's an editor of the magazine Animage, was impressed with the film and asked Miyazaki to produce some works for his magazine. And so Miyazaki then started writing the manga, which is Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind in 1981, which became the most popular feature. The editors then encouraged him to adapt the story into a feature film. So this story was actually pre-Studio Ghibli. Even though it's kind of included in the collections and stuff, the studio hadn't formed yet. He was still kind of just like working the grind when he was making this. But so this started as a story that he himself had written as a manga for a while. So there's a significantly longer story in print than we see in the movie, but it's a little bit of the background of it. That being said, what were some of your initial thoughts?
I really liked it. I ended up watching it over 2 sessions just because of my schedule. So I was like, I watched the first hour, really dug it, came back, watched the second, and it was just like a very loaded climax. It was awesome, very epic. I'm a fan of the animation style. Nausicaä, like I was immediately charmed by her in the movie, just like kept giving me reasons to like her. She's just up there in terms of like great protagonists as far as I'm concerned. I think that it's kind of sad to say, but I was just like, man, it's really nice just having like your community leader just like work so hard for you. I wonder what that's like. Like truly, just like I was just like, oh man, like she's a princess, but like she's working and like putting herself on the line as much as she would ask anyone to do for her, and like you're rooting for her. Like, am I a fan of the monarchy now? But yeah, like Nausicaä is just like such a great protagonist for like all the reasons I stated and more, and it just made like this really cool, expansive story just like feel like it had a strong anchor that propelled the narrative for me. I really like the supporting cast. We already talked about our homeboy Yupa. That dude was awesome. And I think that's what I love the most about this is that like this movie kind of has everything, you know. I mean, it kind of plays with that like post-war what is time thing where like you've got tanks and machine guns, but it's also like men in knights armor. So I think that like that just like really it's I know there are like times when like you throw everything into a movie and it just feels like a mess, but this just felt like it all felt purposeful and thoughtful and just indulgent in the best way. So, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on, but like it really just boils down to Nausicaa rules. Definitely go check it out. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, agreed. I think I'm with you that there's like an intentionality to it all. Like you can certainly like pick apart the influences on this. Like you can see like elements of like Ursula K. Le Guin or Lord of the Rings or like Dune. I got a lot of Dune vibes with kind of like the like ecological sci-fi fantasy element. But like you can also like draw like through lines from this and all the stuff that it's since influenced, you know? So like it's interesting because you're saying like it throws a lot of stuff in the blender, but it does still feel like wholly unique and just like super creative, super inventive, like imaginative in all sorts of great ways. Like yeah, I mean, I echo what you said. Like Nausicaa was a great protagonist. Loved Yupa. I actually feel like Yupa, after I was watching it, um, gave me some Gandalf vibes with this like
Oh,
kind of like
totally. Like he's got like
yeah,
that wizard vibe to him.
yeah, which is fun because like in the Disney English dub, like Patrick Stewart voices him, and like we got Ian McKellen who's actually Gandalf in those movies, and they're like buddies in real life, so they kind of basically played Gandalf together in a sense when you think about it. I
Sure.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. But no, I liked it. I think that I actually hadn't watched this one before. Like I've watched a lot of the Studio Ghibli ones, but it's been some of the later movies, so I hadn't gone back and watched this one yet. And I'm really glad I did because I appreciate something I've always appreciated about Miyazaki's movies is I feel like he makes movies that are for kids. I mean, they're really for everybody, but they're accessible kids, but he's never ever talking down to kids, you know? And like there's a lot of movies that are kids movies that are great about that, but it's like he is like touching on some like real heavy themes. Like it's very clear, like like environmentalism or even just the idea like I think the god warriors are supposed to reflect like nuclear weapons, you know, and like the allegory that's there, like it's complex like issues and complex morals and like the pacifism of trying to not truly paint anyone as like like a villain in some sense. Like there's just like different like motivations and ideas of what needs to be done. And so like I think like these complex ideas are presented in a way that's like accessible to like younger audiences and older audiences alike, and it's just impressive how he's able to make this in a way that it just feels like it's like I said, not talking down to anybody, you know.
Yeah, I completely echo that. I honestly, until you just started saying that, it didn't even register to me that this is for kids,
Yeah.
which I think just speaks to like how good the movie is. Great. Also, I watch a lot of like, well, when I do watch a lot of these animated films, they do such a good job, especially like the Japanese ones, or at least like the ones we've watched are like more adult focused or adult themed.
Yeah, like
That
Akira or something.
yeah, this just felt kind of seamless with that. And actually, yeah, I would have eaten something like this up as a kid, and it's because of the stuff you're saying. Like it doesn't feel like it's talking down to children, and it treats them like any other audience. And it's like here is a good story that you'll appreciate for a lot of reasons the more you watch it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. So it's interesting. So on this podcast we've talked about like Godzilla, for example, inspired by like real life disasters and incidents that happen. And in this case, like Miyazaki was also like similarly inspired by something that actually happened and how we designed kind of the world. Specifically, it's an incident called the mercury poisoning of Minamata Bay. And so he kind of looked at that and how nature responded to a poison environment to draw influence for this. Like ultimately, what happened in this story was like a bunch of people in Japan from a specific area were found to have this intense like neurological disease that led to like muscle weakness, loss of vision, and even death in many cases. The researchers who worked on the case like found that the victims were members of the same family, clustered in these fishing hamlets along the shore of the Minamata Bay, and they were eating shellfish from that same bay. Ultimately, they discovered it was caused by the release of methyl mercury in the industrial wastewater from a chemical factory from 1932 to 1968. So over like 30 years of wastewater, which transformed the like natural environment there, but was poison to the humans living there. So he drew inspiration from that notion of how are humans destroying the earth in a way that's poisoning us and making it harder for us to live there. But nature, to quote Jeff Goldblum, finds a way, right? Life finds a way. So
Yes.
yeah. Anyway, I thought that was super fascinating how he drew from that to like kind of design the world and like kind of carry over those like environmental themes and stuff. So that was cool.
No, I thought there was something really beautiful about that idea with the toxic forest, and the idea of like, yeah, toxic for you,
Yeah. Yeah.
we good. If you just settle your sassy ass down, you can get some water too. But yeah, I love that because that's true. Like most of the time when we talk about like something being like habitable or like could like sustain life, we're doing it from like a narcissistic like our life only way.
Mm-hmm.
So I do love that as like a complicated and important lesson, especially in what is now being told to me was a children's movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think like it's done in such a cool way. Like we talk, like I think the environmental themes, but like how it's all like I feel like a story like this could have been like kind of deeply nihilistic and how just like, oh, we fucked it up and we're all fucked, right? But like he manages to make it feel like kind of optimistic too, and like really like the pacifist idea of like no more death and all that, like the dangers of militarization, of course. But like there's this quote that I found. So in my Blu-ray case of this, there is a booklet with essays and stuff. And as a director's note from Miyazaki himself, and he said one of the thoughts that he had when making this was, quote, "Can hope be found even in this twilight era of humanity? If we are to seek hope, what point of view do we need to have?" And I think that's interesting to think about because like ultimately, like, yeah, you're saying like the forest can just like go on its own, but like ultimately like the hero that we need, humanity needs, is somebody who's like almost intrinsically connected to the nature. Like she can kind of communicate. So it's like we gotta like we gotta like act as like part of nature in a sense instead of a part of it.
Yeah, very beautifully put. That guy should write things and make
Right. He
stories.
should. He should.
He's got such a great worldview.
Yeah. And totally. Well, so what is your background with Miyazaki? Like, have you watched any of his stuff before?
I maybe bits and pieces, but I've never seen a full Ghibli film, which me and you have talked about. I don't know if we've ever put that on the record. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, he's a blind spot for me, but um, I have obviously seen a lot of animation, and a lot of animation is inspired by Ghibli. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things like Lynch. You know what I mean? Like I may not be like
Right.
a student of Lynch, but like I am a huge fan of the students of Lynch and their output for whatever that's worth.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a super interesting. So Miyazaki's a really interesting guy. In that same like essay booklet, there's an essay from Toshio Suzuki, who I mentioned earlier, the producer, and he talked about how like Miyazaki is like frustrated whenever he sees like older films that he said, quote, are prettied or fixed by digital processing. He says like he feels like it's sacrilege and like old films should still look old, or like it's natural for old films to look old. Like when they did this, they ultimately compromised a little bit and did a little cleanup and color deepening, but he's like, I want it to look like how when I made it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, and that's like his philosophy too. Like, but he also just like in general, like when he makes his stories, like we talked about, it's like a celebration of like the natural world, or like looking at our connection to nature, like often in ways that are supernatural. But he's also, as you notice, like you pointed out, like Nausicaä being such a cool character, like he's been praised for having like, you know, complex like female characters that are often like the protagonists. When in a lot of anime, that's very much not the case. Like there's a lot of anime where
a lot of sci-fi even like
yeah,
she is Princess Leia if Princess Leia was like got just desserts and like actually was able to like lead A New Hope.
yeah, and was the main character, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's It's great. Like he's like 1984, like you said this was, right? Like and was not that kind of depiction it wasn't done as much, especially in like this kind of like the format and narrative style.
Well,
Yeah.
good on Nausicaa, good on Miyazaki.
Yeah. He did some movies that were not like fantasy though. He made a couple like did like a biography of a fighter pilot. Have you heard of Porco Rosso?
Yeah.
That's the one where like the World War I fighter pilot turns into a pig. It's got that "I'd rather be a pig than a fascist" line.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a
I've
good one
seen
too.
that in Signs.
I like that one too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm woefully behind, but it's also that thing of like, well, aren't all of you jealous? I get to see Ghibli movies for the first time.
You get to exactly. That's a really special thing. And yeah, My Neighbor Totoro is probably my favorite. It's our little our 3-year-old. It was his first movie, like full movie that he watched, and like absolutely loved it. We had to listen to the soundtrack in the car like on repeat. It was great. I liked it still. It's just so calming and like nice and pleasant, and it does the same kind of thing. Like it's for kids, it's for like younger kids, but like again, it's like never talking down to them like we're talking about. Just a delightful experience.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear.
Yeah. Speaking of score, though, I did want to point out the score in this movie, like, slapped.
It did slap. I was very taken by it, and it was like, both times I watched each half, I was like after work, so I was just kind of like gassed. But then like this came on, and I was very like, I was okay, I got something in the tank.
Totally, yeah. It's like I feel like there was like that kind of classic like 80s like techno vibes, but then there was some like classical like instrumental flowing music. Like it was a really fun combo of music.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, this was actually the first collaboration between Miyazaki and composer Joe Hisaishi, if I'm pronouncing it right. And he did the scores for like Totoro and a ton of the other ones moving forward too. So they've kind of collaborated a ton since this. And that's his vibe. Like his vibe is like minimalist, experimental, electronic, classical, all like blended into one thing.
Hey, no notes. I'm a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. One last interesting kind of tidbit about this movie: when it was first released in the US, the studio that released it cut 22 minutes of the movie, specifically a lot around the environmental themes and Nausicaa's child connection to the Ohmu, the big bug creatures, and they changed her name to Princess Xandra. And so basically it felt like a whole different movie. And basically that release led Miyazaki to adopting no edits clause moving forward whenever he dealt with foreign releases.
Good on him.
Yeah, he was pissed.
I bet. He seems like everything I've heard about him is like he's very precious about his work and like
I think
what he
so.
puts his name on. And yeah, there was like that whole thing about like how it took forever to get Ghibli onto streaming.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm always a fan of that. Like, if you were smart enough to get ownership of your property early enough, like, yeah, make them fight for every inch you give them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Did you have any like favorite particular moments or like striking like visual scenes or things that like stood out to you?
I like the like assault on the castle. When the townspeople from the Wind Valley, when they're attacking and they attack the Tumekians' castle, and those old guys steal the tank.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And like I genuinely feel like a minute it was like, so they're gonna die because like every time like they'd like move with the tank, they destroy more of the bridge, and I was just like, this is really well done because like the animation is keeping me on my toes.
Yeah, and I love that. Wasn't it like the other town leader who like shows up, the one that's voiced by Edward James Olmos? He like comes over, it basically just stops the battle and is like, hey, more important things are happening, guys, so you gotta come over here now. Like that was like they're all just like, all right.
The pacing did feel a little odd in the battle at times, but it was just always like so fun, and it was never enough to like stop me from like enjoying it.
Totally. I reminded myself too that this has just got like a trifecta of like sci-fi fandom actors in it with like Patrick Stewart, right, from Star Trek. You got Edward James Olmos, who's Adama in the Battlestar Galactica series, and then Mark Hamill, of course, like shows up in this movie too.
What's he from?
I don't know. I have to look it up, but I think it's a famous one.
Oh, okay. Are you sure you don't mean Shia LaBeouf from Transformers?
Can you tell the story of how confused you were about Shia LaBeouf?
In the movie or just in life?
In the movie.
Oh yeah, sure. I had seen that the movie was made in 1984, but Shia LaBeouf was listed in the voice cast, and I was like, well, hold on now. I know he's older than me, but he was doing movies in 1984. Like, how old does that make him? And then I saw that he was born in 1986, and from there I was just like, oh, okay, he's got a TARDIS or something.
Yeah. When in reality,
Disney did a re-release in like 2005 or something.
Yes,
so
that was when the dubbing happened. Yes.
Yes, which if I check my notes, he was an appropriate age to be a voice actor in a movie.
He was a person at that point.
He was a full person and not a time traveling wizard of some sort.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, no, good points. I feel like that scene with the tanks and the battle was really interesting. I think like I'd also say like I feel like the opening sequence is really striking too. Like I was a little taken aback at first with like her kind of like internal monologue being the exposition. I was like, it's just you're just kind of explaining us the world, but like you kind of need that coming into a world like this in a sense. So I was able to forgive that. But like her like discovering the like Ohm like carapace shell was super cool. Like, and I was like, this is setting up for some really interesting, like an introduction to like a creature that we're going to learn much more about. Like that was really striking. I also just loved the sequence where their like flying machines crashed in the poison forest, and they're kind of like trying to figure out what to do. And Nausicaä and I forget Shia LaBeouf's character's name, the other prince, like kind of like fall beneath the forest and discover like the secrets of it. That was a really cool sequence.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah.
I loved when she starts just whooping all the Tolmekian guards' asses after they kill her dad. And
yeah, that was great.
For like 2 seconds, I was like, are we going to find out she's like an android or something? And then it's like, no, she just learned how to fight. And like it takes like Yupa to like calm her down and even like stop her. And even that takes like getting like a blow from a sword. And it was just like, oh wow, this is like a really great performance from a cartoon.
Yeah, it was really striking and cool, and it was like, and like it was felt like it was like that's a heavy death, you know, right on.
Yeah, but the movie just sells it, and it doesn't cheap shot it or like shortcut it or anything. It gives it to you like the full weight of what it would feel like.
Absolutely, yeah, super well done. Shall we monster it up?
Let's monster.
All right. So the main sort of feature of where like the creatures come from is this poison forest or toxic jungle. And I think they even call the whole area the Sea of Corruption, which is like the spores, plants, and pretty much insect life. It's mainly insects that have spread since a devastating war that turned the planet into kind of a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The forest itself is self-sustaining, but the spores and everything is harmful to human life, reflecting the idea of kind of like the earth like reclaiming itself from humans and human pollutions. So it's through that we get to see a lot of like these sort of mutated like insects that seem to all kind of have this like harmonious like relationship. Like I want to say hive mind. I think the Ohm have a hive mind, but I don't know if like all the insects do, but there's like an element of like if one is hurt or they're always like, don't shoot it, right? Because the others will come. Like they sort of know that if humans like fuck with the insects, then they're all going to come and be pissed, you know, which is a really cool concept. Like, it's like, oh no, the earth is like, we have our own thing. And like, you guys like are the outsiders and you need to stay back, you know? So I like that a lot. That was cool. I did want to talk a little bit before I get into Ohm, because I feel like the Ohm, or like Ohmu, I think they're called in some cases, are like the main creature, I'd say, that are featured in this. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the God Warrior creatures, which were those giant biomechanical beings, which were largely responsible for what they said called the 7 days of fire that kind of destroyed the Earth. And I think I mentioned earlier that they're sort of reflective of like nuclear weapons. So during the story, they become nearly extinct and are only found as like large horned skulls from like coming out from the sea of corruption. There's a tapestry in the beginning that depicts the God Warrior's creation, where the organs are being assembled by humans, which we kind of get a glimpse of when they start to resurrect the one that we see in this. But then we get the sequence where they resurrect the God Warrior at the very end to try to combat the stampede of the Ohm, which that was like straight horror movie stuff, like in this kids movie. Like that was gnarly as hell. What'd you think of that?
Agreed. Yeah. I don't know. I was like, I guess if I was younger, I'd probably have been like a lot more like, all right,
Yeah.
but it was still like very vivid.
Like gross, like the
Yeah.
melting element of it, like the like this coming out, like the skin and the muscle tissue like coming off the bone in a sense. Like that was gross. It was very cool, and I really enjoyed that part. I thought that was really cool touch of how like they just weren't ready to have brought it back, and like it wasn't ready, like it was still destructive for a little bit, but then like kind of just destroyed itself. But there's a really cool trivia piece about who created or who designed that sequence. So there's like a ton of animators that of course like work on this movie, right? But the person who did this specific sequence was, and I don't know if I'm saying the name correctly, but people know the person is Hideaki Anno, who later went on to create Neon Genesis Evangelion, and made Shin Godzilla. So basically he done a ton of stuff that are famous as well that people probably know other things, but he went on to do a ton of like really big stuff. So this is one of his first like animated projects, and he was the one who was tasked with designing that because it was considered a very difficult like animation sequence, the melting. And I'd say he hit the nail on the head with it. He did a good job.
Melted the shit out of that thing.
Yeah, but that was pretty cool, I thought. Yeah. The other like main, so I mentioned already the Ohm or the Ohmu are the most prevalent insect creatures that we see from the forest, and I kind of would say they're kind of like kaiju, like pill bugs in a sense, because they're huge. They were designed by Miyazaki himself. He took inspiration from pill bugs. It said that the largest Ohm could reach up to 260 feet. Ordinarily docile herbivores, but when they're upset, their blue eyes, of which they have 14, turn red, and then they fly into kind of this like berserker rage, which usually happens when a creature of the forest is threatened or the forest itself is threatened in some capacity. But they can ultimately destroy like entire settlements with their stampede, and they, I think it's implied, have a hive mind and a collective memory. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how they're manipulated by those Pajites. I don't know how you'd say that.
The Pajites, yeah. Those other, the other people, yeah. So that was, I think that was really cool. They also seem to, I think that I say collective memory because I feel like there's when they kind of like reach their like tendrils and kind of like interact with Nausicaä. I feel like there's stories that she gets from them, and she's able to like give them like stories of like who she is, and sort of like to understand, like there's like mutual understanding that comes through. That was cool. I thought that was really cool. I actually felt like it reminded me, we just seen this year, but it reminded me a little of Mickey 17.
Oh yeah, I was definitely getting shades of that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even with the design of the creatures a little bit too. Yeah. So there's, I wonder, Bong Joon-ho, if he took inspiration from Nausicaä for some of his ideas for bringing that to life, you know?
I mean, that and Okja even.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Like the idea. Yeah. The whole idea of like they're monsters or they're just nothing. They're animals. Yeah. Like it's a theme that they both seem to want to explore.
Yeah. That's cool of them to explore that.
Yeah. according to the story, the Ohm were not organic, and they were man-made, designed to protect the environment. Um, their stampede is called the quote the Great Boar. Their movement drives the spores further, which spread the toxins, taking out entire villages at a time. So they basically, their existence kind of spreads the toxic forest in a sense. Yeah. What'd you think of the Ohm?
I liked them.
Yeah.
You know, they were cool. I thought it was like funny that she was doing the Chris Pratt thing where it's like only she can calm him down.
Just like reaching your hand forward, right?
Hold on. You know, it's cool, and it's like one more thing that she has over everybody else. But it's also that kind of thing of like, I don't know, if they operate in any kind of like hunter gatherer society, other people have like probably come up with ways to soothe it too.
Probably, and I'm sure like probably shittier ways, right?
Yeah, but you know, like ultimately, it's just like you're not the first person to like be like surrounded by these things and be like, well, maybe I shouldn't try fighting my way out.
Yeah.
But I liked them. I thought that they definitely do that great thing of being like scary, but also like not so scary that like you can't ultimately be comforted by them like doing a heel turn. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like none of them were like being like jackals or anything like that. It was very much like if it was like set off, otherwise they were chilling. So I was like, cool,
Yeah.
you're cool in my book.
Yeah, like they were docile. Like I said, they were chill, and we do get that sequence, that flashback sequence to like little girl Nausicaä, how she had like the baby Ohm that she was hiding from her father.
Yeah.
Super depressing. That was so sad.
Nah, she bugging though. Like that's crazy. Like you just told me those things grow to be like nearly 300 feet. Like,
Yeah.
girl, if you don't stop playing in my house, you're gonna bring a kaiju beetle over here? Are you stupid?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, a child perhaps maybe didn't think that.
I don't know. I'm a react. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, if a 4-year-old just like brought like an alligator to me, I'd be like, "What are you, nuts?"
Yeah, maybe not the best idea.
Yeah, but that's just me. I'm very hard on fictional children.
Definitely just you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there any other of like the creatures that stood out to you? Because I feel like we saw lots of the different like kind of like insect bugs. Like I'll say that one that stood out to me is I think when they were in that toxic forest, like the characters were, and they were falling, and there were like these kind of flying ones that kind of felt. I feel like they reminded me of tapeworms, where they were flat. Remember those ones?
Kinda.
I thought those were really cool. I don't know. Did you notice any of those that you liked a lot?
Honestly, I was like so caught up in like the glider and like the tech
Yeah,
being so cool. I
for
don't know
sure.
that any of the creatures like, and I know it's a creature feature podcast, so I kind of failed the assignment, but they did not stick out to me as much as the tech.
Totally. And I will say, like, I chose this one for the podcast because there is the creature element and there's a lot of unique like creatures involved. But I also just thought it's a really interesting movie to pull to kind of talk about like Hayao Miyazaki and like Studio Ghibli in general, or Studio Ghibli in general, just because like it is like an early entry and you see like kind of like the shades of like where he goes on to become. So I think it's an interesting like introduction. All in all, even though it's not his first movie, I think it's introduction to like the stuff that he wants to be exploring.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I
yeah.
as a Miyazaki novice, I think this is a really cool one to kind of start my journey on with them.
Yeah. I want to circle back a little bit, Khalid, and say, speaking of things that are sticking out, what's your fight or flirt for this one? I feel like I explained it, but fight or flirt?
The Ohm fighter
Yeah.
flirt, yeah.
Just in general, any sort of thing in this one.
I think Nausicaa's kind of just shown like, don't fight whenever possible. Don't fight.
Whenever possible, flirt, please.
Yeah,
Actually flirt.
for
Actively flirt.
for the love of God, if your only choices are to slaughter entire species or flirt, try flirting.
Yeah.
And you know, if there's one thing she taught us beyond that is that the Ohm are receptive. they're willing to talk. So I'll take my chances. They seem really cool. They heal you if you're mortally wounded, which like people get married for health insurance. Like I'm definitely gonna go on a date or two for a magic healing bug. And you know, I've already kind of talked about how awesome the gliders and the tech is in that world. I think I can make a go of it. I'm confidently gonna say I'm smarter than like at least half the townspeople. So I feel like even if things go wrong with me and the bug folks, I could go back into the village and do pretty good. You know what I mean? Like I know multiplication to a degree. That would probably be handy. This far into a post-apocalyptic world. I've seen documentaries. I don't know. I'm just trying to, yeah, one or two. I'm just trying to prove my worth to either the humans or the Ohm, I guess. But yeah, no, I would flirt. There's really no. I would have had to have not seen the movie to say fight.
I mean, I almost considered skipping it with this one because I don't know if it's as applicable because like the whole point is to like flirt, not fight. That being said, I did think it was interesting to kind of bring up and like circle to this like fight or flirt segment that you do because like you've always said like it doesn't work with kaiju because you can't flirt with them. And it does work in this case because they're kind of kaiju bugs that you have to flirt with, right?
Yeah, but also they're like kaiju, like to the point of like elephants for the most part. There's a few big ones, but like there's a bunch of them that are like more animals that I can.
Oh, totally, yeah.
You know, like I'd fight or flirt like a monster elephant or like a monster that's the size of an elephant. That's not a kaiju to me.
Kind of goes back to the 4 Bears test back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know. Kaiju is like try to flirt with this skyscraper. Where? What do I even look at?
There was a movie that came out a while ago. It was like a woman who fell in love with a Ferris wheel.
I believe you.
Yeah, maybe they should make a movie about falling in love with a skyscraper. That'd be interesting.
It's probably coming. It's probably already on Amazon.
Yeah. Could do that in a fight or flirt. So, okay, 2 more things that I wanted to mention about the movie that I forgot to bring up already. One, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk. We talked about the monsters and didn't bring up her little fox squirrel pet.
Yeah, that thing is sick. Reminded me of Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's 100% like a little Pokemon.
Yeah.
What was its name? I thought it had a name, didn't it?
Steve.
Yeah, it's probably Steve. You're probably right. It was super cute. I love the sequence when she first meets it. Like. She lets it bite her a little bit, and you're like, "Oh, now it's all calm and my friend now."
Yeah, bring that home, not a kaiju beetle, you psycho.
She obviously learned because that's what she brought home next, right?
Well, yeah, fine. You live and you learn. I'm irate on her father's behalf. R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. King.
Yeah.
The last thing, and I feel like you brought this up in a text to me, but like, if you type in, on Google. Like anything like Nausicaä, like one of the first 3 things is like Nausicaä wearing pants.
Like I was so uncomfortable for that first 15 minutes.
Yeah. Like I did think that too. Like I did go and I was like, I really hope that's the case that she's wearing pants because I would be like really bummed if that wasn't the case, but like it is. And I think it's just like the transference of like the colors and everything, like the skin and like the pants colors were supposed to be kind of like a beige white, and it just like looked similar. But like when you see the framing of like her like kneeling down, like it's very clear at that point it's pants. But for a while I was like,
But there's like 10-15 minutes where she's just on like the glider.
Yeah.
And every time they cut to her like backside, it just looks like they just kind of like drew like some crack. And you're just like, are we watching like a girl like bare ass fly through the sky right now? Like,
which might feel nice. I don't know. Like I would do it.
Yeah, but I like it. It really undercut so much of it. Like at that point where she was like, "Oh no, the spores, we can't." And I was like, "Now you're worried about germs?"
Yeah, you know.
And it really distracted me for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Now that you know, you can go back and
yeah.
Yeah. Is Nausicaä wearing pants? Yes. Yes, she is.
Yes. And then I said, thank God.
Yeah. Agreed. That made me happy that she was.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to our final segment of the show? Our what the fandom segment?
Let's do it.
So Khalid, what the fandom with you?
Oh, thanks for asking, Joe. My What the Fandom this week is going to be the Clips album, Let God Sort Them Out. If you're not a hip hop fan like myself, the Clips is a group. Well, I guess they're actually just called Clips. It's a joke that like the black community just adds the to random things. But Clips is a group that is fronted by Pusha T and his brother No Malice. Most people probably know Pusha T, especially since like the Drake beef. But yeah, back in the day, Clips was this group that was produced by Pharrell for the most part, and they were just this like relentlessly talented and if evocative rappers that just like pretty much anytime they were on a song, like you knew it was going to be heat. The one that most people probably know is Grinding. It's like grinding, grinding. You know, I don't know. It's a good one.
I
And
like that.
Let God Sort Them Out is honestly like no different from any of their output. Like they're one of those groups that got like really wrapped up in like legal issues with labels, and so for a really long time they just weren't able to put out anything. But it's crazy to think that like these men in like their mid to late 40s and early 50s are just delivering some of like the best songs this late in the game. And also they very famously got their start as cocaine dealers in Virginia. So people do love that too. They're really good at just like making a bunch of cocaine references sound cool. And yeah, I've been bumping that album nonstop all weekend. It's so many great tracks. I really love FICO. I really love the one with Kendrick Lamar on it. There's a one called So Be It that's also really good. They're all just like, it's just that it's dripping with venom. It's very just like cool and punctuated, and so just it's a sonically it delivers. So check it out. Let God Sort Them Out by Clips. That'll be my What the Fandom this week, Joe. What the Fandom with you?
Thanks for asking. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'll have to check that out. What do you say? The Clips, Khalid?
Yeah, the Clips.
I'm just gonna geek out about Incubus again. No, I'm just kidding. I still love just how flabbergasted you were about that. I mean,
I'm still flabbergasted. It just feels like you hit a whole part of yourself.
I guess I did. I did. All right, my real fandoms. I got 2 this week. So I don't know what it is about summer that makes me really interested in reading more like manga like series, like the Japanese comics. But I just got from the library a book called Mermaid Saga. There's 2 like larger volumes to complete the whole story. But it's written by Rumiko Takahashi, who I've kind of been interested in doing a deep dive. She's one of the most prominent like female manga writers, which in a very male dominated field. She wrote Inuyasha, which is a famous one. She wrote another one called Ranma 1/2. But Mermaid Saga is like her kind of like dabbling in a little bit more of the horror realm, because Inuyasha is kind of like a fantasy adventure that I think is, you know, the anime series is also aimed at kids and stuff. But like Mermaid Saga is basically about like a boy who consumes the flesh of a mermaid and makes him immortal, and he spends the rest of his days, like his immortal existence, looking for a way to undo it. And he comes across like another girl who is also immortal that he travels with, and it's very episodic. Like each like chapter or issue tells like a different like little adventure or thing that they get in, that range from just kind of like sometimes sad and melancholic to like straight up like horror, about like people who are obsessing over finding the flesh of mermaids to try to become immortal. But it only works for a few people. Most people who actually do end up consuming the flesh become these horrifying monsters called the lost souls that really come after you. So like There's some really cool like body horror and like monster stuff to it. There's some just really interesting like pathos with it about like what it means to like be, you know, like immortal, or like how that feels, or like having how relationships can actually happen and everything like that, and regret. It's a really cool series. I'm really digging it right now. So I don't know if there's an anime. There might be some adaptations of it, but the comics themselves, I'm really enjoying so far. I'm on the second volume and I'll be done soon. So definitely recommend that, Mermaid Saga by Rumiko Takahashi. My second one I want to recommend is kind of a surprise one for me. I just threw this on last night. It's a movie that just came out this year in 2025 called A Knight's War. Have you heard of this, Khalid?
I have not.
Well, I was excited for it. One of the stars in it is a friend of the podcast, Kristen McCullough, who talked with us after Psycho Gorman, if you remember her.
Oh,
So
hey.
so she's in the movie, and the movie itself is directed by Matthew Ninabar, if I'm saying the name correctly, who played Psycho Gorman. So
Oh.
yeah, so he's directing the film, and his brother Jeremy is actually the lead. But Kristen plays this witch demon character that's really chilling and really cool. I watched it. I threw it on the other day. Just came out really cool. It's a super dark, like gory, brutal, like epic fantasy. Not tongue in cheek or silly like Psycho Gorman. It takes itself much more seriously, apart from some humor. But like, it basically follows this knight who is trying to make sure a prophecy happens of this girl with red hair who's immune to fire, is supposed to save the humanity. So he chases her down this portal to like the realm of gods and demons, and is trying to search to find her and bring her back. But like, basically he finds her and they have to go on a quest in this realm to get these stones to come back to regular Earth, essentially. So they're traversing the realm of demons, and they have to find stones and fight like these witches and these demons together. But there's also other questions about like, is she actually the chosen one, or will she bring about destruction, and blah, blah, blah. Fantasy stuff, you know. I will say though that there was a really inventive sequence that stuck out to me a lot, where they have these stones that give them the opportunity to like die several times before actually dying in this realm. And like, they're fighting the witches, who are played by Kristen McCullough, and they like die in like, it's like Groundhog Day, but like for like brutal fantasy deaths for like a little while in the movie. It's very fun. Yeah, and it's good. It's very like, you could tell that the budget was low, but there's like a scrappiness and inventiveness that they just like, they do some really creative stuff. Like I am sure that they would have loved to have done like way more like weird monsters and like weird landscapes, but like they didn't really have the funds to probably make it like super weird. So you could tell it's just like the forests and the settings that they would be in otherwise in a fantasy film. But like the monsters and the designs and the costuming especially were really cool. And I thought the acting was really solid, and I really enjoyed it. Like I am here for more like brutal, like horror tinged, like fantasy stories. I think that's a really interesting like genre that we kind of don't get much. Like those, I think they intersect more in the book world, but like in the movies, I feel like it's usually just like sword and sorcery or horror, you know, like, so it's when they're kind of coming together, I think it's really fun and interesting.
Oh yeah, man. Let's get it gruesome. I think we're all sick of the grimdark superhero stuff. This might be a nice
a segue. Yeah.
A good bridge. Yeah, get off there.
Get some grimdark fantasy in there instead. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's a place where it should be. Like, it's like, well, like Middle Ages, fake like Middle Ages, we're all knights and everyone's gross from like disease. Like, yeah, like lean into that body horror.
Bring horror back to fantasy.
You heard it here, folks. Hashtag.
Let's get this campaign going. Well, thank you for those recommendations, Joe.
Totally. Yeah.
They both sound amazing. Check out all of our recommendations as always. And before I foolhardily end the podcast like I usually do, I'm going to stop myself and plug our Patreon. If you are a Friendenstein or Stein and you're looking for ways to continue to support us, go ahead and check out our Patreon. If you become a patron at either the $1, $5, or $7 tier, 1, $3, or $7 tier. Any level is honestly appreciated, and we use all that money to try and optimize the podcast, whether that includes getting new equipment or what have you. And yeah, we go ahead and try to throw some Franken bits on there time to time, just to give you guys a little extra content, because we know that's what the kids love. We've got some really cool discussions on there that are usually pretty separate from the creature feature discussion too, if you want to hear our thoughts on things beyond that scope. But yeah, any contribution helps. Thank you to all the folks that have been patrons. Special shout out to Joel Brewster. I believe he just recently became a patron. You're the man, West Coast Strange. Much love.
What up, Joel?
What up, Joel? Anything else I'm missing, Joe?
No, I think that hits. I will add though that I feel like we've mentioned this before, but like the podcast and everything that we do is totally just a labor of love for us. Like we aren't getting paid other than the Patreon for this. Like we made a goal for ourselves to release more Franken bits, but I think we've just been so busy. So like apologies to anybody who've been looking for some, but we're hoping to get some more on there for you. We have a couple good ideas that we're going to kick around and kind of get out with the next probably couple months. We'll hopefully have some more on there for you, but the ones that are there, I think we got 8 or so on there are pretty fun.
Bangers, if you ask me.
Bangers,
2 words.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, thank you, Joe. I echo everything you said. Labor of love for sure. And we do truly enjoy doing this for all of you. So as always, thank you for listening, wherever that may be. And until next time, creep it easy.